Well, I'm hoping that someone has put an order in for 2 kegs of sunshine for the weekend, because we're going to need it. It's beer festival time. We're at the University of Sheffield for episode 5 of the Sheffield Hopcast. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Sheffield Hopcast, and something a bit different this time because we are at the University of Sheffield Students' Union. We're in the Raynor Lounge and we're here because, it is, as we speak to you now, it is the night before the Student Union Beer and Cider Festival is about to get underway. So we don't normally kind of talk about it in terms of days, but it's currently Thursday evening. The beer festival starts tomorrow afternoon. The weather forecast is good. We're all quite excited and looking forward to it. And that's why we're here. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. For now, though, it's time to meet our crew this evening and to find out about our respective favourite beers of the past month. So, Adam, what has been your favourite beer of the last month?
Well, I've been enjoying all the small beers after last month. So I've had quite a few of the other Cloudwater ones. Honourable mention to the new one, which is the Citra Mosaic one, which I had on Tuesday. Absolutely really brilliant. But just to pip that to the post is the Whiplash Northern Lights Micro IPA, which is again in the 2% range. It's 2.8%. Absolutely brilliant. I've never had any of their beers before. Recently had a collaboration one, which is the new gluten-free one with Northern Monk. But really good. Really look out for that. I've not seen any of their beers anywhere before, and just picked it up from the draftsman on the Doncaster station.
Yeah, you can get them. They're stocked by a main supplier to everyone. So they're relatively straightforward to
look
get.
Look out for them. Lovely stuff.
It did sound like you were going to break into a song by Blink-182 where you're like, all the small beers.
All the small beers.
Laura, what's been your favourite beer of the month?
I've picked a curveball. Basically, earlier this month I went down to Brew York's 2nd birthday party.
Right.
Launched their crowdfunding campaign, which has been very successful and is, I think, will be coming to a close kind of as this goes live. But they had loads of their own beers on, quite a few guest breweries. They had Mad Hatter, Magic Rock, Electric Bear, and a couple of other guest breweries as well. They also had a Cocktail Lounge, which is their beers made into cocktails. So I am picking for my beer not beer of the month an Imperial Tonkoko White Russian, which was their Imperial Stout made into a
It's a
White
cocktail.
Russian. Yeah.
It doesn't count, surely. It's a cocktail.
But it was
cocktail of the month,
It was
Adam.
predominantly their Imperial Stout. I think it's 8.5%. It's actually a really delicious beer on its own. I do love a Tonka bean beer, so very enjoyable beer anyway. But then they added rum, vodka and cream to it, and it made me absolutely gleeful.
So they have like a bar that they specifically mix them? Or
Yeah.
So who was planned that? Was that their brewers, or was that somebody coming who more of a mixologist or something?
I think it's somebody who works at the brewery. I'm not sure if it's one of the two main guys who runs it, but it's part of their expansion plan is to offer kind of masterclasses, and it's just really nice because it's right in the centre of York as well, so it's really good to see that they're trying to do things to bring in the non-traditional beer drinker or just the giddy beer drinker that likes a cocktail on the side like me.
Maybe we should hear about, maybe people should tweet us their beer cocktails.
Suggestions, yeah. And then you could mention mixologist again.
Mixologist.
You enjoyed saying that.
Do you know what? I don't know where I dragged that from, but that is a real term.
Beauty.
Of course, this is the final time that Laura's going to be on the podcast before she joins the Sheffield Cocktail Cast.
Jim.
From next
The
month.
spin-off show.
What did you think about Jim's performance on the podcast last time?
Oh, he did be proud, bless him.
Boy, did all right, didn't
Yeah. Thanks for having me back, though. It's nice to be back.
You want?
Sean, what's been your favourite beer of the month?
We're in a university, we're in the Student Union bar. I'm just going to copy off Laura and I hope I get the same grade.
Sorry.
She does.
Tonic.
No, I'm going to go for a very modern brewery and a modern brew, but not one of their very latest brews. The brewery is Verdant, based down in Falmouth in Cornwall. Perhaps the UK's most sought after brewery in terms of demand for beer currently, bringing out lots of IPAs and double IPAs on almost constant basis. But one that from perhaps a year ago, 18 months ago, Verdant Pulp. I think it's 8.7. Double IPA, just absolutely luscious, and I think for the moment just a touch underrated because it's been out before, it comes back, it's been out before, it comes back, and so can be overlooked sometimes as a result of all the newer stuff that keeps flashing through. But just absolutely beautiful, double IPA, easy drinking, beautifully soft, perfect for the sunshine this weekend.
They are knocking out some incredible beers at the moment, aren't they? So the older stuff, you're right, it is kind of
it's easy to overlook,
forgotten, isn't it? It's like the child that's growing up a bit when the new baby comes along.
That's it.
Yeah. Russ is back with us. What's your beer of the month?
Oh, this is where I get all the moans and groans.
Did I tell you the rule is you're not allowed to pick anything by the Brew Foundation?
Oh, you're not, are you?
For any new listeners, we should point out that Russ works at the Ecclesall Ale Club, which
get
obviously
paid for all
is owned by the Brew Foundation, who are also our Meet the Brewer this month.
Well, no, the reason is, there's two reasons. One, I've not actually tried that many beers, and two, I quite like it.
Fair enough.
So it's in terms of how it is as a beer, we've on at the Ale Club, we've had it in keg, cast and bottle now, and I've tried all three, and it is different in all terms of three. The keg is more its true term, and I like cask beers, and I didn't find it as enjoyable in a cask. I found myself going back for another one of keg.
Right.
Not quite. A little way yet.
What's it called?
You can tell us what a pecker chew. Because James loves a pun.
Yeah, and the style is...
So yeah, it's a double dry hop pale, 3.9%. It's cloudy, naturally hazy, not off. As one person said to us. He said, no, it's meant to be like that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's also one at the beer festival as well.
It is on the beer list for the beer festival over this weekend as well. And it was, I live in Sharravale, they were serving it at the Sharravale market a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't manage to get hold of it then. So it is actually literally, and I'll hold this up so everyone can see it, it is one of the beers that I have marked in order to try over the course of this weekend.
And Laura, of course, at the start of this gave us all a nice gift from Abbeydale. I bring the beers each week, and Russ is going to bring us 4 of those.
Oh, wow.
To choose next month. The pressure is now on.
So it's over to me.
Yes, it is.
I think it's been a really good month for beers, and I've got at the moment I'm quite obsessed with kind of really hazy, unfined beers, which naturally kind of leans towards kind of the double IPAs. Verdant, I was going to mention, have brought out some really, really good beers over the course of the last month. I think Wylam have done some really good stuff. But the one that I had that blew me away the most, and you guys will know what it is because I spent about 10 minutes talking about it on our group chat about how much I enjoyed it, was the Cloudwater Triple IPA that came out earlier this month, which I can't remember the exact title of it, various different letters and whatnot in it, which I'm sure Sean will remember as the expert.
I think it just said
but
tipper.
It was beautiful. It was like a perfect blend of kind of mango with a really nice kind of pine sort of flavour going on there as well. And it was about 9-point-something%, but hid it quite well, very drinkable. And because of that kind of strength, the kind of the mouthfeel, everything about it was just lovely. And I am at the moment, I judge beers on when I get a glass of something. If I can see my hand at the other side of it, I reject it. That's a no. Not having that. Can't have anything that I can see my hand through.
I really, really wanted to kind of go for another Wylam, but I think I've done 3 out of 4 Wylam beers.
Yeah,
and like,
you would have
I'm not that super.
Yeah,
I've had 3 cask Wylam beers for the first time this month. Varying strengths between about 3.5 to 5 and a bit. All been absolutely brilliant. Slightly cloudy again, but I've had the 10% Midnight to Bike as well. Incredible beers coming out of that brewery still.
And that's like 10%, 10%, isn't it?
It's absolutely drinkable as hell.
Quite well. I've got to be honest, I thought what the water wanted.
Yeah, I thought they were better.
I thought that was better.
I was at 6%.
I thought, I
bought them both together from you, I think, after the last podcast.
I thought that's excellent. Yeah. And I've got to mention that's been on at the Ale Club as well on keg.
That's good.
And lovely, really nice on keg.
Any honourable mentions? Just while we've
I would have said Midnight Train to Bike as an honourable. That's the best double figure.
Yeah, so it's 10%.
Dipper Imperial, I think IPA they sold it as a van, but that's the best I've had in a long time.
I will echo you in terms of the fact I've had a couple of Cloudwater smalls.
Yeah.
There's been 2 or 3 new ones, hasn't there, this month?
The Vic Secret one was good.
All really good.
I've had a couple of nice gozers this month as well. Devonshire Cat had a New Zealand collective beer showcase a couple of weeks ago. There's a salt and pepper goes from a brewery called Nomad that I really enjoyed, was really interesting. And not on the bar that night, but that I've had in a can this month has been the 8-wired cucumber hippie.
Yeah, I've seen
which
a few
is,
people.
Balloon-Vice.
Yeah.
Like, as the weather gets warmer, I just want to
bit of
fill my
that.
fridge with
Yeah,
it. It's
I
so
I'll grab one
nice.
of them as well. I've got one.
I'll throw in the Pineapple IPA by Ashover. Came to me when you were speaking.
Cool, yeah.
I have had that. That was quite nice. Yeah.
That's
Like-
on the
Yeah,
the
that
beer
a
list as well.
cask
So I marked that one down
6.5.
as well.
Yeah, it was on
6.5%.
cask.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
IPA.
Interesting.
Really nice pineapple flavours to it.
Sean, you was championing a bit of Ashover, yeah.
We brought them along tonight, so
Good stuff, yeah.
we're.
And that actually would qualify as one of our beers tonight, because our theme for episode 5 of the Hopcast is fruit beers, which we thought would nicely coincide with the incredible amount of sunshine that we were guaranteed to get at the beginning of May. It's not exactly worked out the way that we thought it would do, but it was all right for a few hours this
There are 2
afternoon.
of us in t-shirts.
Yeah.
and
I've not got my
we're on
colours
a
on.
Maybe,
yeah.
I mean, by the time people listen to this, it might well be kind of hitting the weekend where the weather forecast is going to be good. So, let's just pretend
So we're
summer's
thinking
arrived.
ahead. We're being very
The
clever.
heating's definitely
We're being
off at
very
home.
clever.
Call that sun.
And so we're doing 4 fruit beers tonight.
Fruit-based beers, yeah. So you wouldn't call any of these probably a fruit beer. In the way that you might call Timmermans fruit from Belgium or Sam Smith's fruit beers. All of these beers have fruit in them. So a slightly different look at it.
What is first on the agenda?
First up is a couple of cans. Manchester. I noticed that Manchester got offered up as by one of our fellow podcasters, Beer O'Clock Show. Did one of their opinions little surveys last week, suggesting that was Manchester perhaps now the UK capital for beer. And I'll not tell you how I voted, but it's not.
I also voted no.
All right, yeah, as did the majority actually, I think. But an outstanding city, I might add, for beer. But Shindigger Brewery, younger brewery in the city, made a few waves. Perhaps about 3 years ago, they came up with a West Coast Pale that everyone really sort of raved about and enjoyed. Then sort of quieter for a while, but are now back in tallboy cans and blitzing out, doing a great job. Different styles, coffee pilsners. But they're very good at the pales and session IPAs with a little bit of fruit in there. They've got one with peach in, and we've gone for a bit of mango. Sunshine's out, or it was earlier. We've gone for their Mango Unchained Session IPA, 4.2%. I've had it already myself. From the shop point of view, sells really brilliantly. I think there's a little bit of pineapple in there as well. Slurp it in the sunshine. This is perhaps a beer that you, without being unfair, you're not necessarily going to say it's a real sophisticated beer. It's not lambic, it's not wild in any way. It's just a pale with mango in there that is made for slurping outdoors during the summer months.
Mango beers have become quite a thing the
Yeah,
last
they have.
12 months or so.
Yeah.
A year ago, Thornbridge did the
Mango Halcyon.
Mango Halcyon,
Yeah.
which I'm sure we'll chat about a bit later on, because we've got the latest intonation of that that we're going to try later.
Yeah.
And quite a few beers that have got a bit of mango.
What do you think
going on,
aroma
which
on
wouldn't-
that? You just really
Yeah, it's nice. A nice
loads
aroma.
of fruit, don't you?
There's actually
you
more
really do get
fruit
the-
in the aroma than there is in the taste.
So it's
actually.
called mango, but it does actually also have pineapple. It's a pineapple as well, but it's gone for the Mango Unchained pun for Django Unchained.
Correct.
Film. There we go. Cracking film. 4.2 session IPA. So yeah, it's nice.
Easy. People sort of, I think it's just a casual drink. It's a drink where you do a lot of chatting and a lot of talking. Not particularly focus on the drink. Just have that as your additional, your refreshment, and just get on with people.
My initial thought for you, James, is that similar kind of to Pogo.
Yep.
In sort of its sort of strength and sort of fruitiness. Is that a papaya one? But
That's
the wild
passion fruit.
But you like that? You
guava
really
and
like
lychee
that.
or something like that. Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I think this is probably not as sweet. I think
No.
Pogo is
Session
quite
IPA, so
sweet.
there's some bitterness.
This has
just
got a
there
little bit of
finish
bitterness
off.
to it, so it's probably got a little bit more balance than Pogo does. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it just depends on what you're in the mood for. Like, I enjoy Pogo as just a really good kind of sat out in the sun. It's just a really sweet beer that is just basically fruit. It's almost not even beer. Whereas this, as you know, it's a little bit more balanced in terms of having a bit of bitterness there. You can kind of taste the
Still feels
the
like you're
beerness
drinking a
to it,
beer, doesn't it?
Yeah, again, another potential crossover beer. If Shindigger rolled up at lots of summer festivals with this and handed out some tasters to people, I would imagine they would get stampeded by people who wouldn't necessarily know who they are or drink that style of beer.
I imagine this is really good on keg. You know, slightly more chilled than what it is now.
I don't think it's a cask beer.
Yeah,
I don't think, do they even do much kind of on?
I think
I
it's
don't
keg.
think I've ever seen anything personally.
They do keg, but I don't think there's any cask. But they may do.
I think if it's like super chilled, like it's just one of them. Like, I'll have that refreshing.
It has been fully refrigerated since probably yesterday afternoon, but I've been an hour and a half away from the shop since, so it's just warmed up a touch.
Generally, my opinion is like I really like your Timmermans. I really like fruit beers, and there's somewhere in the middle where the bitterness of a beer and the fruit kind of are fighting. And sometimes I find it makes them taste a bit synthetic. And I think this is
you could accuse that.
This is just into the fruit. This is just over the hill for me. So
so not quite synthetic.
I have been critical of things like some of the Tiny Rebel stuff tasting a little bit synthetic, even though I believe they're not. But I think it's just where they balance their hop kind of kick to their fruit. And I think sometimes it just sits a little bit funny on me. But I think this is just on the right side of the fence for me.
Okay.
I'm not sure I could drink too much of it.
No, I don't think there probably are beers that are you're going to stick.
I don't want 4 or 5 of it.
Yeah,
I don't think
cans away.
anything. 1 and a half.
I can tick that box of wanting to drink loads and
I had a
loads.
Tiny Rebel Peaches and Cream last week and absolutely adored that drink, but I didn't really want another one straight away after. I wanted something else.
There's a few like that. I think Club Tropicana falls into that category of being.
That's the one I'm really not keen on.
And that's also, I think, a really good crossover beer. In fact, they did the bar at Peddler at the start of April, and a mate of mine who we actually call him Carling Dave because all he drinks is Carling. To be fair to him, the last
Is he
couple
called
of
Dave
years-
as well?
It's called Phil. We just find it really funny. So he has kind of drank some other stuff, but I got him it just surprised me, just buy me something from the bar. So I got him a pint of Club Tropicana, and he absolutely loved it. So clearly falling in the category of kind of that sort of beer that is so different to anything that someone that's quite new to it has ever tasted.
That's his turning point, James.
You've
turned him in the.
He was back on the Carling a week later.
Worry.
We're getting there, slowly but surely.
For the benefit of the early listeners, the Club Tropicana was on keg out at the bar stewards on Tuesday. My wife loves Club Tropicana. Like I said, it's slightly on my sort of.
Has she met Carling Dave?
They
could be.
Maybe they're a match to him.
Made in Club Tropicana heaven.
It's not something. I don't think it's a bad beer. It's just something that quite. But I think this is just on the right side of the fruitiness for me.
While we are here at the Raynor Lounge, then at the Students' Union, ahead of the launch of the beer festival tomorrow, Russ, you've kind of been going through the beer list to kind of pick out what are kind of the highlights for you. So what have you come up with? What are you really looking forward to having?
Well, I strayed more so away from like the local ones and just sort of highlighted ones that were non-Sheffield, so to speak. The Damson one from Wiltshire looked quite good. The honey blonde. It'd be nice to see if that has got a nice little balance of honey for a pale. It's not too much. It's 4.3, so it's not too bad at all.
Honey beers are quite an interesting case, aren't they? There's a Magic Rock one that's just come out in the last week or
honey
so.
double IPA. Yeah,
I've got one in the fridge. I've not tasted it yet.
Okay.
Anyone had it?
I've not, but I've found that when I've been like a place like Poland and things, they've been quite into their like honey flavoured beers.
Yeah.
A couple of times I've been that sort of like in Budapest, I think, like they're kind of like Both times I've been to Poland, they've been quite into their sort of honey influenced beers, but not.
It's the kind of thing you don't see a huge amount
Yeah,
of.
difficult to get right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I can't think of
I'm
a
not
honey
a
beer
massive
I've
fan.
enjoyed.
No.
I think it's just any beer that has a flavour that's overly cloying,
I remember-
and honey can get that way
The
very
last one I
easily.
remember is the Wentworth, the Bumblebee.
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
Which, unfortunately,
I think-
Wentworth Brewers not anymore.
Yeah. There's a brewery in London,
Which is all right.
yeah,
Yeah,
called
it's all right.
Hiver, who specialise in honey beers. We've stocked them a couple of times, but and sold okay. I've not seen anything of theirs for a while, but they
One
specialise
thing I
in
have
that.
had that I enjoyed, but I enjoyed it like a tiny bit of, was, have you tried the Gosnells mead?
Yeah,
That's on tap in the, it's on in the old workshop. I've seen it in a couple of other bars as well, and it's a hopped mead, so that's sort of the other way around.
4%, I think.
Yeah,
isn't it?
but it's
That's
like
fun
it's
then.
a salted,
nice.
salted mead with hops, so it's kind of a bit of a hybrid beer. But I actually quite enjoyed that. Like I only had a third, and I wouldn't have wanted any more. But
Right.
I don't know if it was the salt in there that just kind of balanced
Yeah.
out a bit of the sweetness from the honey and made it a little bit less overpowering for me. So.
Anything else on there?
There's definitely one I'm going to be straying away from, and that would be the Dragon's Breath chili beer,
Oh,
which
yeah.
it's-
Even worse than
I've tried a chili beer before, and
I must admit, I don't get on with chili beers.
No, I'm sure we have lots of listeners who love chili beers,
Yeah,
but
which is fine.
Bill
they're all wrong.
Ryan is one of my favourite beers of all time.
Oh yeah.
there's a market for it. But the
Yeah.
story I've got is that the last time I went to Sheffield Beer Festival, I had half of this chili beer to try it. I got halfway through and thought, I can't drink anymore. Took it back and went, tip that down the drain. I can't drink it. It's horrible. It was also the guy who brewed the beer as well.
Wait, Dave.
There's a chilly one
Yeah.
on for there's a Steel City sort of miniature tap takeover.
Yeah.
Some of the stouts he's done. That's Friday tomorrow
Yeah.
as well. One of
Emperor-
those has got a
Emperor,
chilly beer. Yeah, it's
series.
collaborations
Yeah.
with Emperor's Brewery
Lost
and Lost
Industry.
Industry.
that will be from when we went.
we were there
when
when they
we
were-
went to
Yeah.
interview Lost
Yeah.
Industry. They were doing a big.
You'll be on the VIP list then,
they were
boys, I
saying
would
the
first
imagine, eh?
ever
Tomorrow.
audio.
They were saying that
recorded
they
as
were
part of the-
splitting what they were brewing into about 6 different
That's
beers,
it.
and they have kind of.
Yeah.
I think some of them might be in the Star Star Wars. Is that what
Yeah.
it's
It's
called?
Star Wars 2.
Right, okay.
There's another Star Wars related pun that alludes
It was
to
kind of
a
like
bit
it was
in the
really
name,
early
but-
days then. So
Yeah.
they were kind of very. We're going to split this into about 6 different beers, and that was about all we knew at the time. But that's going back into. Late,
I mean,
late December.
it was snowing at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first
I
ever
mean, it could have been 2 weeks
podcast.
ago saying that.
The brewer launch is tomorrow. I can't believe you're not on the
On the-
on the list.
To be fair, I mean, as much as they didn't really know what direction they're going in with the beer, I'm not sure we really knew what we were doing in terms of the podcast.
I think that this is enough to claim it as our first Chef Hopcast collaboration beer. I'm sure we're not on the pump clip or the bottle label, but
We know
really
the truth.
we know.
We know.
We know.
That's
You
all.
know,
If it tastes nice, you boys were on it.
Final one for me then is just the Lemon Drizzle Wheat Beer by Tickety Brew. Just sounds interesting. Quite like to try it.
Manchester
I'd
Brew.
mark that as well.
Very creative brewery.
Refreshing wheat beer made with real lemons.
So I did see the Aberdale, the new can that you've done, which you've very kindly donated, which is the Nelson's. Is it Sauvain or Sauvin?
Sauvin.
I always say Solvay.
So it's a 9% dipper, but I think they might have it in cans because it's on the list somewhere, not on that one. But one that's on the cask list, which is a local brewery, Blue Bee Brewery. I really like what they do with it. As much as they do really good hoppy pales, I always thought they do really good like black IPAs or Cascadian Darks, sometimes they call it.
Yeah.
So they have their black IPA, 6%, Planet Caravan.
I was about to pick that as well.
But I get told
Josh
to
at Blue Bee.
my wife tells me off for saying Caravan wrong. So I'm trying to say it right.
Caravan Black
So I say
IPA,
Caravan.
6%.
That's exactly the same thing.
No, apparently it's Caravan. And I've not actually tasted these beers before, but based on Laura's obsession with Torside and what I drunk at the Indie Beer Feast, there's 2 on there which I put on, which is the I'm so bored of the USA, which is 6%, not 6%, an IPA, and then there's another black IPA which is late to the party, which I'm going to look forward to as well.
Torside?
Both Torside, yeah.
There is a what's the tiny rebel one? Can you smell what the bock is cooking?
Yeah, I'm not a
I
big
love
bock fan, to be honest.
I don't really like a bock, but I would probably have that because of the name.
I've got no idea what it means, but I like the rock.
It's,
That's a good question.
It's a German style
it's a
of
dark,
beer,
it's like
sort
a
of
brown,
cranberry
it's
brownie.
A dry hopped bock
lager. It's like a brown kind
like
of
brown lager.
can be a bit
yeah.
smoky as well sometimes, can't it? Like a smoky thing.
Talking of beers with puns in the names, that's the one that I've chosen that I would really recommend, which I have actually drunk before, going back to Brew York, their birthday party, the absolutely excellently named Juice Forsyth.
Yes, that's on my list.
But it's a really, really cracking session IPA, just so drinkable and absolutely packed with flavour, so I'd definitely look out for
We
that
have
one.
had some juice Springsteens as well, so whoever
Yeah,
came first
BBC.
gets the
I
That was the Tiny
prefer,
Rebel, wasn't
if it's the Battle of the Brucers, I'd go Forsyth every
Are
time.
there any other Brucers that deserve to have a beer named after them?
Well, for you, Bruce
Bruce
Dyer,
is-
surely.
Of course, yeah. I'm not sure Bruce drinks. As a
No,
committed
he's
Christian.
very
but,
religious, isn't
Bruce Banner.
Juice Dyer. Yeah. Are there any other?
Juice
Do they all get
Jenner.
called Juice? Do we just replace Bruce with Juice?
Juice banner.
We'll have a think about it. Let's not waste it. I'm sure there's some brilliant ones out there.
I think there needs to be a campaign for more beer-related celebrity puns. There should be a theme one
should
week.
be.
Tweet them in.
Yeah,
Celebrity beers.
Oh,
The problem is
that's
they
a
kind
very
of
good beer
they
name.
sort of need to be dead, don't they?
Yeah,
Because then you've
you've
got
copyright
issues.
Yeah.
But then do you have to wait for
Unless they've
25 years or
collaborated.
something daft?
Don't think
Yeah.
the Princess Diana want to be quite tasteful.
I
Yeah.
feel like sort of Bruce Forsyth's not been dead 25 years.
Are there any other words like Juice and Bruce that fit together in brewing terms?
Could do mousse and do like a chocolate.
No, yeah, we're still on the Bruce though, aren't
Alright,
we?
okay. Let's move away from
Is there a brewery that
Drew
would
for
equivalent?
Drew.
Yeah, that would be
Drew
okay.
Barrymore.
Yeah,
Drew
yeah.
Barrymore.
Right, Drew
Drew
Barrymore.
Barrymore. You swap them round.
Yeah.
That's shit, sorry.
But
Yeah.
does anybody actually like a pun name?
Yes.
I do.
Oh, you do?
Love
yeah.
it.
Do you know, I was going to ask that
Yeah,
question. Like,
I
how many times have you bought a beer on the basis of either A, purely the name, or B,
No,
purely the
never
character?
You know
the
what,
name.
like, I think
never the name.
Some-
but yes, the
I think like
candy.
puns generally makes me feel traditional beers.
Yeah.
But then there's the weird ones like I played bass on like
yeah,
I
yeah,
played
yeah.
Double bass on that
the
too.
verdant ones
Yeah.
are like just kind of like out of.
A lot of those go
Nowhere.
over my head.
Well, there
you
is-
see, I'm 50, so
But they're not
I don't
puns,
understand.
Yeah, I
I'm
think.
guessing that you get all.
No, I
all of
don't.
them.
I don't.
There is a Brew Foundation Janet's treat.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's not a
yeah.
bad fun.
You'll hear in the the interview that they're very into that bit. I think. Yeah.
I
Shall
know
we,
James too well.
Shall we crack open our
Second beer.
second beer of the night? Because we've quite a change in style here.
We have, yeah. Second beer of the night is a brewery that I absolutely adore. Ashover Brewery, based just down near to Chesterfield.
How far away are they?
Brilliant brewery. Janine head brewer. We ordered through Brian Exford, who's a bit of a beer dude and loves his cask around Sheffield and Dronfield and Chesterfield. Right down to Nigel, the guy who delivers. They're absolutely brilliant people. And
You have quite a few of their beers, don't
we
you?
do we stock
Pretty much
anything
full
that
range.
they brew that goes into bottle. We stock it. Incredibly popular with customers.
It says it's a big
The,
seller.
the range is great, from little sort of Citra Pale Ales at 4% up to 8.5% Raspberry Stouts. They do sours. I know they've got some new sours getting launched very shortly. Hoppy red ales. They do a beer called Thor Cake. Now I find brown ales very boring and bland and quite dry, which is deliberate I suppose, but they do one with oats and black treacle, coriander seed, orange peel, make it interesting. So a great little business, great brewery, great people, and I think their beers and range are fantastic.
So would you say that, like, I mean, personally, I do drink some beers on Simon cask, and it depends on what they are. But I initially think kind of traditional.
Yeah, I
But
think.
you're thinking maybe not
I think.
necessarily.
Well, I mean, their Zoo is a 5.5% Citra Mosaic Pale,
Well, that's
and
That's
so,
fantastic. I think
so
it's their best one.
I call them, or have done more recently, a traditional modern brewery. Does that get? Do you get me meaning on that one?
To be honest, I think
Yeah.
maybe I've avoided them for a reason, thinking that maybe the 500ml big
Yeah.
brown bottle, the label quite like not super modern, but quite clean looking. But maybe does it? Does that kind of
It's an
put you off?
interesting point, that, because I've never bought any of their beers just because I am a bit of a sucker for branding.
Yeah.
And
This is
not
relatively
just branding,
new branding
but
for them,
actually,
actually.
A brand as a whole. And their branding, yeah, it does seem a little bit traditional. And I don't kind of see a big buzz about their sort of beers in the way that, we talked earlier about Cloudwater and Verdant and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
they
who
come-
at the moment are getting everything
Yeah, they
right,
come from
the way they're doing their social media and
a
stuff.
different point of view,
But
certainly.
they're tiny as well, aren't they? And,
They are.
So I think outside of sort of Sheffield, Derbyshire region, they're probably not. I guess they're not very well known. I'm not sure.
They do the basics well, though, don't they?
Yeah,
They
oh
do.
no, absolutely. I
Yeah.
really rate their beers.
I had to look up what a Damson was.
I was just going to
I
say,
was
no
wondering,
chance. I thought it was a flower.
I did. I honestly thought as well.
Is it like a plum?
It's like a
it
plum,
is.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand they do an elderflower pale, for example. They go and pick the elderflowers, go and forage for them near to the brewery. The Damsons are the same. So
I
this
love
is
that. I love that. I think
this
that's
is-
really,
I
that
never-
authenticness is
I
really
never
Yeah.
doubted you, Sean, that you'd picked a flower,
So
like
this is-
a
this
flower
is-
over a fruit. I did have to double
yeah,
check.
that would have gone to the judge, wouldn't it? Using a flower on a fruit
I think
to.
that's a flower. No,
So-
it's not. It's like a plum.
What we've got is a Damson Porter. I don't think we've actually mentioned
Sorry.
the beer quite yet, have we, so far? So this is a dark porter, roasted flavours, that uses the plummy Damsons. Plum Porter by Titanic, of course, dominates this
I'm sorry,
style of
that
beer
is-
nationally.
That is miles
Yeah.
better than Titanic. I'll say that.
I do like Plum Porter.
I
I'm not gonna lie.
don't.
I do like it, but it is quite sweet for a stout. It's got a real sweetness. This is much more balanced.
I think
This
plum
tastes more
porter
like
uses not actual plums.
Well, that's the one of ones.
It's
And
synthetic.
Whereas
It is
this,
synthetic.
so
Well,
I think
it
the
tastes
Damsons
synthetic.
in this, like you can taste that there's actual fruit in there, and it's not overpowering though. It just gives a really nice sort of lift to
Yeah.
the finish. I think.
Sean, you
That's a
keep
light
surprising
dark
me.
beer.
You keep surprising with your dark beer choices, and I think that maybe it's going to be slightly traditional. And really
we managed to-
enjoyed them.
we managed
like,
to-
like the Little Critters one.
Yeah.
Loved that. This one is.
I think there are a lot of beers hiding in
I think-
500ml bottles.
I think that I don't think you need to like it. I don't think you necessarily need to like it, be into dark beers to like this either. I think it's fruity enough on either side that
Yeah.
like I said, you said it's really well
It would
balanced.
satisfy a
It's
porter
really
drinker,
nice.
but would
happily
also
drink it.
appeal to someone that's
It's-
more interested in the
Yeah,
Damsons.
I'm not a huge porter
Yeah.
drinker. I quite like some of the very fancy, complex stouts.
This is just a nice
This is not something I would
light
not
little
buy
porter.
this.
Yeah.
But having had it, I can see myself.
Looking at the other
Definitely,
range as well.
definitely being interested in it.
Yeah.
And it's actually the kind of beer that could cover quite a few bases because naturally, because it's dark, it's a good kind of like cosy evening in beer. But this would also suit sitting out in the sunshine.
Yeah.
As
I think
much as a dark beer would do, it would work pretty well.
I think if you close your eyes, I'm not sure I would say it was as dark. I'm not sure.
it
Maybe I
was,
think maybe
yeah.
like a
It's also like a black IPA, yeah. I think that.
Get a
Yeah, but
richness
they know
to
what
it.
they're doing with the
Bitter.
hops, you see, and they get the smart hops. So there is a black IPA.
You get the roasted-
feel to
Not
it.
necessarily that. I think it maybe just
I don't think
like a
it's
bit.
ever roast.
I don't think it's a porter. I think it's more. I think about it, more a black IPA. Obviously,
It's
it's
not-
It's
porter.
not hoppy. It's not
bitterness.
hoppy. It's
Yeah.
not hoppy enough. I think.
Yeah,
Right?
I did think that just when I was
What
drinking that.
defines?
more,
This is a more technical question, so probably one for Laura. What defines the difference? What defines something as being a porter / stout, or being a black
I don't think it's
IPA or something, or is there no
Porter's
rule? Is
Yeah,
it just
porter's-
purely
yeah, go on,
branding?
An IPA will be hopped a lot, but with the hops given more prominence. Obviously, there'll still be some in a stout or a porter, but the main characteristic, probably I'd say, comes from the quality of the water that you're using to create them and the roasted malts that you're putting in there. Whereas the black IPAs, you've still got those roast malts, but the aim is for the hops to still shine despite them being against a background that you wouldn't necessarily.
I think in the porter /
Yes.
stout thing, I don't think there's a definite. I think one
Yeah.
became another one, didn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
stouts generally though now you would say would be a little bit. You get a little bit more mouthfeel from a stout, and a little bit sort of. On the porter side, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to drink.
That makes more
You get
sense.
imperial porters, which then go up to sort of 9 and 10%, but it's a little bit thinner deliberately compared with a stout. So sometimes porters get a little bit poo-pooed by people because they're comparing them directly with a stout, but the mouthfeel is that little bit thinner deliberately. Porter, a bit more easy drinking. And again, I think the porters back in the day used to finish their hard work and sink plenty of porter. I think it comes out with a lot of the London markets, doesn't it? And Borough Market.
Again, it's another one where it's like
Porter Tavern.
I've enjoyed it, but I don't necessarily want another one.
I would have another one of
just
those.
replenishing our glasses over here.
The condition as well of
I'm
the
more on
Ashover
it,
bottles is always
Yeah.
excellent,
It's great,
and
yeah.
you've given that a proper pour now, and
I
the
will,
condition's brilliant.
I would genuinely look. It'll turn I will look at other ones now.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've never shied away from them because I'm not like a craft kind of guy. I will love a good cask beer, and I've seen them on cask because it's fairly local to us. But I've never ever thought I'd buy a bottle of it.
Yeah.
I think it's just I don't like for the same reason I don't buy.
Would you buy North Riding in bottle?
I have
And
done.
Five Towns in bottle. I
have
put them
done,
nearly
but
in that.
I have done, but I think I see them enough.
Yeah.
And
On
I
cask
really
to just
enjoy
drink
North
on
Riding
cask.
stuff.
Yeah.
That it doesn't really like.
Yeah.
I'm not a big drinker at home kind of thing, so like I'll probably I go more specialist
Yeah.
drink at home, unless it's something like a long evening or a day thing or something. But I would definitely look at something like this if I were thinking about that, like something in the sort of lower strength stuff.
What these have done well, Ashover, with Thornbridge dropping from 500ml to 330ml, what, probably a year, 18 months ago now. A lot of their 500ml customers have leaned away from Thornbridge's 330s, and Ashover started to bottle about 18 months ago, and they've just jumped straight in. So a lot of people who were buying the 500ml Thornbridge now are Ashover, keep coming back.
That's
for 'em.
probably a good time for us actually, because we've been talking for like half an hour to meet our brewer this month, who is another brewery who bottle in 500ml and have probably benefited from Thornbridge moving away. A couple of firsts this month. It's the first time we've had a Cuckoo brewery as our meet brewer, and it's the first time we've had to do it twice because we got too drunk the first time and the audio wasn't usable. So this is the slightly more sober version of when I met James from the Brew Foundation.
I'm James from the Brew Foundation and also the Ecclesall Ale Club.
You are the first Cuckoo brewery that we've spoken to. So, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, just tell us kind of the story, the history of the brewery.
Right, okay, yeah. So, first of all, Cuckoo Brewing, it's also known as Gypsy Brewing, and basically involves going in and using another brewery's equipment when they're not using it. So, it's all above board, they know about it and stuff like that, but yeah, it's just it's a really good way to sort of get into commercial brewing, and I'm surprised that more breweries don't start off this way. So a couple of years ago, I'd been brewing at home for a number of years. Beers were going well. Wanting to sort of take it to the next step, the first step, I suppose. Looked at buying some kits. Looked at buying a brewery that was closing near Manchester. Because although I live in Sheffield now, I'm originally from near Crewe in Cheshire. I knew the guys from a brewery called Winkle, which is just past Buxton. It's about an hour from here. And I was talking to them about it, and they said, well, why don't you start off by Cuckoo Brewing out of here? And it worked really well. So yeah, 2 years on, still at it.
It's quite a unique setup, your brewery as well, because it's effectively yourself and your dad.
Yes, that's correct. So basically, I think it's probably a drunken conversation at some point. When probably trying my beers, we decided that it was something we wanted to do together. So I say I go and brew once a week at Winkle and sell the beers into Sheffield and the surrounding areas. And Dad sells the beers into Cheshire and Stoke and things like that. So we've kind of got a nice customer base on both sides of the Pennines, So yeah, it's depending on who you ask, I'm either a Sheffield brewery or a Cheshire brewery. So local to both places. So win-win.
We'll go with Sheffield for these purposes. Yeah. I suppose a really obvious question is: have you thought about getting your own place now? Is that something that's likely to be on the cards?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I've been doing it it was 2 years in November. The Brew Foundation sort of came about. So last year, I've been doing it for a year and a bit, and And, it is the obvious next step kind of thing. But, I looked at sort of, do I get some kit here in Sheffield? If so, it'd mean supplying my customers in Cheshire would be a nightmare. If I got somewhere closer that way, vice versa. I wouldn't necessarily sell any more beer if I got my own brewery. It just mean that it'd be quite nice. People say, where's your brewery? I could go, it's there. Rather than say, well, I cookie brew at the moment, and stuff like that. So instead of going down the brewery, expanding the brewery route, I basically looked at sort of opening an outlet, which is, was always the plan at some point. So hence the Ecclesall Ale Club came about, and that I think I made the right decision. I think perhaps 12 months' time I'll reassess the situation and see. But there's definitely a case if it ain't broke, don't fix it at the moment. So yeah.
Anyone that's maybe not aware of the Brew Foundation, tell us a bit about your core beers and I don't know, maybe which is your favourite?
Yeah, well, I suppose I tend to brew session beers. I have to admit, I'm kind of a bit old school myself when it comes to drinking. I like to have sort of 4 or 5 pints of something that I like. So I tend to brew beers that I like. So, until recently, my strongest beer was a 5%, it was actually an extra special bitter, but, now I've got a sort of 6% white IPA in the range. But most of my beers tend to be sort of ranging from sort of 3.6 to, late 4s. Tend to be on the pale side of things. I say I haven't really got a core, so to speak. The cask availability sort of fluctuates in and out. There's a couple of beers I sort of always have to keep in stock to sort of satisfy customers that have it on all the time. So I always have to keep my bitter in stock because there's quite a few places that have that on the bar constantly. But the rest of the beer range sort of is determined by how the bottle stock's doing. So if I'm running short of bottle stock of a certain type of beer, then that tends to mean, right, I'll brew that, put it into cask, put it into keg, sell that, and and that sort of determines the lineup at the moment. But at current count, I think I'm about, I should know this, but I'm about sort of 8 or 9 beers, all of which sort of keep coming back. So, and my favourite of those, that's a tough one. That's like, which is your favourite kid? And I hate kids. C-Bomb is a favourite of mine because it's a decent session beer. There's loads of sort of it's a Citra. For anyone who hasn't had it, it's a 4.2 session IPA made purely from Citra, and the name C-Bomb comes from the fact that it's hot bombed. So the work's cooled to 80 degrees after boil. Shed load more citrus put in, and at 80 degrees you get all the sort of the flavour and the aroma from the Citra, but not the bitterness. So it packs a nice sort of mango-y punch, but you can sort of knock 8 of them back and worry about it the next day.
How many people use it as an excuse just to come to the bar and swear when they order it?
Yeah, no, I do like the fact that I can put on Twitter, I've just dropped the C-Bomb somewhere and stuff like that. So, that's always a good thing. I do love a beer pun or something like that. So, yeah, that's one of my proudest moments, coming up with that. The other one that I'm quite pleased of from a beer pun related thing is I do a chocolate cherry porter called Janet's Treat Porter. Not Janet's Street Porter, I don't want to get sued, it's Janet's Treat Porter, which kind of gets people, they sort of, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm called Janet. I'm like, right, and then they read it, Janet's Treat Porter, oh, and the penny drops kind of thing. So I think that's, I've peaked with that one, but if anyone's got any better beer puns that I could use, then, please get in touch at james@thebrewfoundation.co.uk.
We're seeing a lot of breweries now who are kind of diversifying and going down different routes and trying more unusual things, kind of double IPAs, triple IPAs, sours, saisons, all kinds of things. Do you have any kind of plans to kind of explore anything different within the Brew Foundation?
Possibly. It's a difficult one. I've often thought about brewing a sour, brewing a super strong one, but there are breweries that there are Sheffield breweries that sort of, have really sort of, have got that niche covered really well. I'm known for sort of, for session beers. So, if I brewed a sour, I might sell some of it, but it wouldn't sort of appeal to my current core customer base. So, the latest beer that I've done was a double dry hopped pale. So, in the style of the dippers that are around at the moment, but I did it at 3.9%. So, it's got packed with flavour, but you can have a few of them. So I've done some test brews for sort of some milkshake IPAs and things like that. So that'll probably be the next new style of beer that I do. So something a bit different, but still something that you can have one and think that's nice. I'll have another one, kind of thing, rather than have half of it. I appreciate that, but I'll move on to something else, kind of thing. So yeah, the methodology's always been, or the ethos, or whatever you want to call it, it's always been sort of beers that you want another one of, kind of thing. So yeah.
Okay, and just moving on to the Ale Club then, where we're sat now.
Yeah.
One of my locals. I kind of feel like I could probably answer these questions myself talking about this place, but what's kind of the ethos here? Because you've kind of talked about the beers that you brew generally being, along a certain kind of, pale ale sort of lines, but what you tend to stock here and have on the bar varies quite a bit.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, although it's a Brew Foundation tap, I didn't want it to be, basically I wanted to give customers choice, I mean, I love going into a bar, I love a hoppy pale, but I love going into bars and trying, all manners of different beers. So, the thing behind the Ecclesall Ale Club is we've got 8 keg, 5 casks, got on constant rotation. There's of all different styles of beer. So I try and keep one or two of mine on the bar at all times, as it is a Brew Foundation pub. But no, I think it's there's something for everyone, really.
I know we've touched on future kind of plans for the brewery. What about future plans on this side of it then? Ale Club 2, is that likely to be cropping up anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think we're a few months in with the Ecclesall Ale Club, so I don't want to sort of do anything too soon. Or the end of this year, then I'll probably look at the business as a whole and sort of think, right, well, what's the next step? Is that the brewery side? Is that the outlet side? I mean, I've always, it's called the Ecclesall Ale Club because if I did ever want to sort of, open another one, it could be then an ale club kind of thing. So I've always got my eye out for the right location, but finding the right location is a nightmare. I mean, I tried to open this place on Sharavel Road, near where we live, and planning said no, and I think things happen for a reason. Managed to find this place at Ecclesall Road, and I think things worked out for the best. But yeah, if the right place came along, then yeah, it'd be something that we'd be doing. So yeah.
Well, James, thank you for your time.
No, thank you, and yeah, look forward to having some more beers with you.
Thank you to James and the team at the Ecclesall Ale Club. It did take us 2 attempts. We're blaming the sunshine. It was the first really sunny day of the year, first time that we did it. But we got there in the end. Anyway, time for our next fruit-based beer of the evening. Sean, what have we got?
We're going international. I think reasonable. You may have spotted a pattern. I like patterns that we always tend to have something local. Ashover, not too far away down, just below Chesterfield. I always like to have something at least international for us to have a look at as well. So this is Evil Twin Brewing, and Evil Twin, based originally out of Copenhagen, Gypsy Brewers, Cuckoo Brewers, who again create some incredible recipes and brew across the world, Scandinavia, North America particularly. The brother of Jeppe is the brother of Mikkel as owner, and so we've got 2 twin brothers, I think they are, aren't they? With 2 opposing breweries. Evil Twin, more so over recent years, have leaned a little bit more, basing themselves in Brooklyn, New York, and actually are ongoing at the moment in completing their first brewery. They will have a brewery at some point this year, building that in Brooklyn, and they're renowned for big sweet stouts and going daft things. I know we once sold a 17.2% Imperial IPA of theirs. This though, fruit-based, it's called Tropical Super Itchy, and it's a passion fruit Berliner Weiss.
I'm looking forward to this.
A beer that should reference again one of our customers and perhaps even a listener. I'll make sure he listens now. I'm going to mention his name. Alan Edwards is a sour beer lover, customer of ours. He loves other beers as well, but sours are his personal passion. And he had this just over a week ago, said it was the best beer he's ever had.
Nice. Wow.
So yeah, passion fruit sour, tropical super itchy from Evil Twin. or
What
a
makes
Danish
what makes it itchy?
USA. I'm not quite sure on the name
find out
again on
tomorrow.
that one. Yeah.
Are we going to say that like evil twin McKellar is like the black sheep? Is it Thwaites?
Oh yes, similar. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
suppose it, like,
yeah.
I suppose everybody doesn't know that, like,
brothers. Yeah.
I think the Thwaites Brewery and the brothers. One guy was
Yeah,
the
fell
black
out.
sheep,
I
and he
feel like
became.
nobody's made that comparison.
Black
But you know what I mean?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think
So-
I don't think that's ever been done before.
But that's right.
Right.
I am right in thinking that,
Yeah.
aren't I? That like the Thwaites. Was it? I think are they both Thwaites? Is Thwaites the family
Thwaites
name?
brothers, and then Black Sheep was
the
the one
black sheep of the
that's
family,
it,
anyway.
yeah.
The black sheep. Yeah.
Evil twin is the evil twin brother of.
But I honestly, like,
Brilliant.
but honestly, until recently, I never knew that evil twin was anything to do with like the McKellar sort of people, person.
So not had this before.
These are the guys that the couple of lemonade IPAs they've done.
That's
Is
it.
that
They were
them?
collaborations with
And
Omnipolo.
is it called Bozo? That's
Bozo
like,
beer
what's
was
that ridiculous percentage.
Yeah, that
Sounds
one
really strong
was.
about it.
Was that 17
It's got
something?
great.
I think Bozo, which had about 16 different adjunct flavours in
that's
there.
what I'm thinking
A big, massive pastry stout.
Jesus ones, isn't it?
Yeah, even more Jesus is a very famous beer of theirs. They really do cover the ranges.
It's
This
Laura's
is-
the
Laura's
first
face.
to take a taste, and she pulled the
Puckered.
proper
crazy.
sour face.
Yeah. I haven't had a sour that's sour in a while. Like it's
I think it actually smells more like it's going to be sour than it actually
no,
is.
I think it's. I
It's
really
got
like
a smell.
It, though.
It's got a really unusual smell that I can't really put a finger on. Like almost like a kind of like a. I'm gonna say like a cactusy kind of. I don't know what I think that, but like, you know what I mean?
savoury hint in the
There's a
aroma. Yeah.
savoury.
Yeah, it's
Isn't
really,
it?
like you can really smell it even from like not putting your nose to it. I can smell it from seeing it.
I mean, there's
Oh,
a
I
fine
really
line
like
isn't
it.
there,
The aroma's
between
different,
like
yeah.
a sour, a Berliner Weiss, and a Goza where you actually have got the salt
This is
that
going
goes
to
into it. and
test
stuff.
Russ this one. What does that smell like to you? Oh, is it?
That's a brilliant face.
Tongues out.
We should point out Russ is not really a fan of sours.
I bet he's got a lovely big glass full of this.
I have. I've
see?
put too much. Does that have a familiar smell to you? Like, yeah.
The smell doesn't.
I'm thinking like
doesn't link with the
cactusy kind of
taste,
like
yeah.
cactus.
It's only cactus you smell.
I smell. I've got two cactuses, but that's
It's a fruit. It's a.
I think
I
it
wanna
does
say
smell.
passion fruit
Yeah,
or
or aloe
something.
vera. Aloe
yeah,
vera.
so, yeah.
I'm smelling the
Aloe
same
vera.
beer.
That's a name
Aloe
for a
vera.
beer, surely.
Aloe vera. Northern it's the same
beer,
family,
innit?
isn't it? It's that.
You know how we were saying though with the first beer that it would probably be a good crossover beer,
That's
but it still tastes like a beer. If you gave this,
To someone that doesn't like beer.
then I don't think they'd even know it was a beer.
No, they
No,
probably
I
wouldn't.
agree.
It's
This
got
is-
that
no.
fruit.
Essentially
this
a
is
cider,
not-
yeah.
This for me is one of those that
Sour
after 2 or 3 mouthfuls it starts coming into its own.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I'm a big fan of sours.
I think it's delicious.
Brilliant. I think it's absolutely
It's
lovely.
it's much more complex than some of the like
Yeah.
like Russ is just like it's just.
But it's
Mouth
not
dry as I can't.
It's
I
not.
can't.
It's not too much. It's not over
No,
the
it's
top.
it's really good.
4.5%,
No, it's
and
good.
again,
I've had worse.
that's probably stronger than Carlin, and you just can't imagine.
I don't think
you?
Carl and Dave would particularly
No.
appreciate this.
I think
It
it's
tastes
the-
like a melted Solero.
I think it's the most aromatic.
Yes.
I think it's the
Yes,
most
that's good.
aromatic
Solero.
sour I've had. That's not flavoured by something like obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's that sort of tropical fruit juice
Yeah.
breakfast thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have that for breakfast very easily.
That's a
couldn't you?
great idea.
it's just like that.
Have you got any spare cans with you?
Yeah, actually, we did have. It was our wedding anniversary a few weeks ago, and I really
Fizz for
like
breakfast.
Bucks Fizz,
Yes.
which.
The band.
Christmas Day.
or-
Well, both. But
Make
yeah,
your mind up.
I have quite a penchant for a nice little Bucks Fizz in the morning. We didn't have any, but we had tangerine tart from Fierce instead.
Yeah.
And it was great, and it was such a good alternative. And I think this fits nicely in the Christmas morning. You don't, fancy a Bucks
Some
Fizz,
Christmas,
but
eh?
you don't want to spoil your beer
I
credentials. Kind of beer.
think we might have mentioned it like on the episode 3, which was the North Brewing one, which is the orange.
Oh yeah.
Or Curious Orange.
Yeah, and I,
Yeah.
like I said, I said it again, but my friend said like I could drink that for breakfast. It did taste like that nice, not orange juice or not grapefruit juice, that the breakfast juice, which is like a mix.
Yeah,
you buy it as like a thing,
You
it's like
can.
a breakfast.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
can.
that, but it's
that was-
similar to that.
That was quite strong, wasn't it, Curious Orange? That was
Yeah, about six,
six
yeah.
point something, whereas this at 4 point something, you actually could literally drink it for breakfast if you
I'll tell
wanted.
you what, this is the smiliest beer we've ever tasted so far.
I mean, we're all
Looking around the table, it's a grimace from Russ.
Yeah,
I
that's
can
much
see
a
his
smile.
teeth,
Well,
so
do
let's
you know-
call it a smile.
Do you know what? It's got it's really nice taste.
You're galloping down that.
I know. I'm
galloping.
tasting it. I do
you
like.
had a big glass of that. I thought.
did.
You're galloping.
You've
You've
got a big
nearly,
glass
you've
of
nearly
that.
finished it.
I like the taste. I don't know what it does to me in terms of my face is folding in on itself. But the taste is there, and I get the taste. It's nice. I can drink it as much as what I've had,
So
which
there's
is
a
what?
physicality about
Third.
that you don't like.
Yeah.
The squelching
So
of
that's-
your
I don't want to
face
have to
and-
sort of
So we're
feel
talking about-
uncomfortable drinking.
So that's like a sensation of a like kind of. It's a sensation more
Yes.
It is a
than
sensation, yes.
more than
Yeah.
the actual taste. So like
Yeah.
you're saying that you're coming round to. You're understanding a sour beer,
I'm understanding.
but that's much sourer than the. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Emily
I
you
have
had last time.
I've
right?
had sours that I can happily drink. I've had more, well, less so than the ones that I can't drink. I just don't like.
It's
That-
not that sour. It's more. It's more like there's more to it. It's kind of,
It's complex.
I mean,
It does affect
Berlin
your upper
Weisses
body,
aren't,
though,
aren't
doesn't it?
No.
sours in the traditional sense of the word. Sour, a Berliner Weiss is you would normally drink
Like a syrup
in Germany with a syrup in, which would just take the edge off it. And the first time that I went to Berlin, went in a kind of a really decent beer place, and said, "Do you have anything that's sour?" And they went, "Well, we've got the Berliner Weiss, but we serve it with syrup in." So I was like, "Oh, can I have it without the syrup in?" And they were like, "What?" What? And they
Oh, you're
totally
English.
just didn't
get it.
Didn't really understand why I would do that. And now it's become like a recognised
Can I-
beer type in its own.
Can I throw one more reminisce of my lovely afternoon at the Brew Your Birthday party in here?
Yeah, go
They
for it.
make a Berliner Weiss, I think it's 2.8%, and it is just, it's completely straight Berliner Weiss, but they served it in this little Hoptail lounge that they had, with 14 different syrups that were just on the edge of the bar. So you bought your beer, but then you could choose and kind of make your own.
Like a cocktail.
Well, if you
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to, yeah, but you could just pop whatever you wanted.
I think I
in,
mentioned
and it's a really nice idea.
Sean kind of gave me the eye, but like I think I mentioned this before. No, it's fine because I thought about it exactly the same time. Is that when Los Angeles did their original mojito sour, which is that's about 5-6%, and they turn up to like the shaky, and they would drop this kind of glass on the bottle on the table, which was I think it was like a JD Jack Daniel's bottle, and it's like, all right, this has got some like mint syrup in it. Just basically do what you want, like, to put as much as you want in there. You drink some, you can re-top it up, and it was like, whoa, it's like this kind of next level drinking experience where like I bought this beer and I've got this extra kind of thing that I can just
add
kind
on.
of
Because it's really nice.
mix my
to
own beer,
kind of
and like I
have-
don't think they ever did that since then. But that it was like such a cool idea.
Yeah, so were you pretty much a mixologist?
I was
that
pretty much a
night?
mixologist. Then, yeah. I mixologized.
I'm working on an idea in my head now, which is I can't find it on the beer list. I'm working on an idea for. So this is literal combining of beer and cocktails. It's a bocktail. So it's a bock-based beer with a bit of fruit thrown in. And,
It would
you know, like,
it would
West
have to
beer
be,
style,
yeah,
like
yeah.
an umbrella, fancy umbrella, maybe with like a parrot hanging off it that you put in the.
I'd say
Yeah.
this is not getting
Yes.
my.
So it's interesting that you said, Sean, this is the most smiley
My
beer, and
gears
yet I appear to have wiped that smile off everyone's face with the idea of a
I think a
bocktail.
box the like least kind of style
Yeah,
of
it
beer. I
is
think
really,
well, that's
isn't it?
really like kind of
Nice
refreshing.
bock,
No, it's
yeah.
not. It's like brown.
It's going to tell your brain.
I'll tell you what.
Probably not the best idea ever.
Yeah.
Laura mentioned that this was like melted Soleros. This is perhaps going beer aficionados might be disgusted, but this frozen as
slush puppy.
slush puppy or ice
I think
pops.
it's. I think
Swan
I would say
or
it's like
ice
a Solero
cubes.
with more like a full lemon squeezed on it.
Yeah, get these.
Oh, I like
get
that
this
idea.
frozen. Yeah, get this
Like
in
a
your
Tango
ice
ice
trays.
blast.
Yeah.
At the cinema, but with beer.
Why is it itchy?
I've
Is
got
it-
so many.
Is it?
Because it makes you go.
Is it anything to do with like?
It contains the crabs virus, as you'll find out tomorrow.
Full of herpes, yeah.
So this was made in Boston, probably. Yeah, okay, I don't know. I'm not going to.
Boston, Massachusetts.
It's just a bit of a hipster word, isn't it? Itchy.
Is it? I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
like, if you've got a big beard, it becomes itchy.
My tongue feels
Yeah,
itchy.
The lost
Yeah.
industry guys, they're itchy, with the beards.
My tongue does feel slightly itchy, sort of taste.
Yeah, you
What's
got
his name
Don,
again?
Don King.
Yeah,
Don
Don King.
Alan Mike.
No doubt would have a scratch if he'd got fingers and
It might
arms.
be. That might be one for. Well, I'm off to Berlin.
I don't think it's
next
would
June.
you say that it's not a very typical evil twin beer though? Would you say? I'm not,
Yeah, they'll have done some sours before.
What
but
I don't know what I'm
yeah.
trying. I don't think there is a typical evil twin.
No,
stronger than that.
No, there isn't. That's a good answer. They just go at everything.
Well, I think the evil twin went down pretty well with the majority of our panel, maybe with one exception. On to our last beer of the night, and we're coming a little bit closer to home. Sean?
Yeah, we're Thornbridge. We have gone for a new beer from them, although utilising one of the classic, perhaps original modern craft beers, you might say, Halcyon, which has been lauded for some years from Thornbridge, and Thornbridge continue to brew Halcyon and available for sale in all good outlets and pubs and bars. But I've done a couple of variants on that in the last year, and probably this time last year it was the mango Halcyon that we mentioned earlier. So we're finishing off tonight with 7.4% pineapple Halcyon, which has been out for maybe 3 weeks or so now, and again proving popular. And
Who's
so
had this
there you go.
before? Because I've had it in
I've had it.
bottles.
I've
Yeah,
had
I
it,
have.
yeah.
You had it. You've had it bottled as well.
I don't think I've had it keg now. I missed it actually.
Anyone had it on keg?
No, I've not tried it
I
yet.
don't.
Because I had it in a bottle from the Stag's Head, which is one of my locals, and when I ordered it, and he went, "Have you had it on keg?" And I went, "No," and he went, "Oh, it's loads better on keg." He said it's all right in bottles, but it's loads better on keg.
Did they have it on keg that night?
No.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I had a bit
You
of
were
it
buying the
stupid to buy
bottle.
bottles. I got it on
Yeah.
keg.
I'll put my thought first. Basically, is that I don't think you can beat the original Halcyon. I think it's
It
literally
doesn't
like.
have to be. This
I
is a
think-
different beer. Yeah, just it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be a competition.
You know, I mean,
perhaps.
adding something to it basically it doesn't seem to improve it to me.
Right, I wasn't blown away with Mango Halcyon
I
last
wasn't.
year.
This is
And I'm
better
not-
than
I'm-
mango.
It is
I think
better.
this is better than
It's
the
better.
last
I'm
one.
still not blown away with it, and I think the reason is that what is it? 7.4%?
7.4.
And for me, it tastes stronger than a lot of beers that you get now that are between 7, 8, 9%.
Yeah, that's the bitterness though, perhaps coming through. Is that
Maybe
gives you that
maybe
bitter
it is,
mouth? It
but I
leaves
think
your mouth.
in the last couple of years, my sort of palate has
Yeah.
become conditioned
Yeah.
that you can have a beer that's quite strong,
Yeah.
and the strength is
But
not
not
about
really
tasting the
feel it.
alcohol; it's about what it adds to the beer and
Yeah.
the complexity that it gives
Yeah.
it.
Do you think there's
Whereas
still
I
room
feel
for beers
that
though?
this
that give
is
you that?
allowing the kind of the alcohol taste to override whatever the fruit's given to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like,
And that was the issue I had with the
it's a
mango
bit
one.
But
strong to
that
it.
would be deliberate though. As a 7.4% beer, yeah, they want to give
I think
I actually-
the strength.
I
isn't it?
actually
really
don't get
nice.
too much
No.
of a
it's
booziness
not.
from
No,
it.
I think maybe like Sean might understand because as a West Coast kind of
Yeah.
it's slightly West Coast sort of style. On the,
Yeah,
on the
if
IPA.
it's not soft,
it's
it
basically
feels
like
stronger.
I'm dulling that West Coast
Yeah.
kick that you're getting.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm kind of going, well, I really like what it is. Adding some fruit, softening it with some fruit is just
Yeah.
making it for me not as
Yeah.
impactful.
Right.
I just feel that it overrides the fruit flavour.
I don't find it boozy.
Maybe it's for me. It's in comparison what else we've drunk tonight. I don't
This
know.
is a less smiley beer than our previous record smiley beer. This is-
Don't get me-
Original
really
Halcyon,
nice beer, I really do
original
enjoy
Halcyon is one
it.
like my absolute favourite, and I have drunk original Halcyon recently, like with it probably since this, and I will try and have it now and again, whether it's bottle or on keg, because we will still get it on keg in like Hallamshire and things like that, and it's still brilliant for its strength. And I think like it stands up, and they were making that. Like I said, I've had that on cask, probably.
It still gets
I've
general
two-
acclaim.
I've had it on cask on the old colour, because they went to a green colour label, back to a blue label, like back when it was like the old one, I'm thinking, and it was too heavy on cask. This is like probably 8 years ago maybe.
They were among the first kind of really strong beers that had kind of Halcyon, Bear State. When the idea of like an 8% beer just blew me away. I was like, that's like wine. You can't have that. You can't have it. And I was like amazed by it. And now I'm, it's so commonplace now.
I think that beer, if you compare it with other things, you're getting into more dangerous territory. If you judge it on what it should be, Imperial IPA, bitterness and pineapple, I think it delivers all.
Absolutely.
It ticks all those boxes.
So they nail what they want it to be.
It's a brilliant
rather
beer.
than it
No,
being
I
something
think you're absolutely
else.
right. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant beer. I think just like to me, it doesn't improve original Halcyon.
Yeah.
So like you
That
just
don't matter
you just
though,
you know when you
surely.
like start messing with something, don't break what isn't. Don't fix what isn't broken.
This
sort
is
of
just
thing. It is, but I think I wouldn't have
Just
done it
a
with
Halcyon
cheeky
purist.
little alternative.
I think I would have done it with Halcyon.
Yeah.
Like I really liked Abercaxi, which was the sour pineapple one they did last year.
So if they'd done that and called
just-
it something else, do you think you would like the beer better?
No. Oh, maybe
Pineapple
psychologically.
Express.
I don't think I would have liked it more than original Halcyon either way, but
Yeah.
maybe psychologically it
You'd have
tricks
felt
me a bit.
more comfortable.
I don't think I'll really like you mentioned Bear State, which is only probably a year or
Yeah.
two, maybe like a fairly new West Coast style that
Yeah.
they do. I weren't convinced of that straight away, but I think it was maybe all the noise of the industry, which all the other beers that. As some people who, like us guys who probably are really spoiled by Thornbridge, which we get them. We have five or six Thornbridge pubs in Sheffield, which literally you can walk up and you can get at least you'll get everything that's released instantly, and you'll get probably 5-6 cask, fully the same on keg.
So it's easy to overlook
All
what
the
you
bottle
can
thing.
easily get.
So it's normal for us. It's a bit of a benchmark, and I think years ago when they were just like the absolute, and they still are really, the grandmaster, they could turn their thing to any kind of style and it'll be brilliant. I think it's because they're very classic in their style. Someone comes and goes a bit modern and a bit funky, that sometimes you kind of go, oh well, you did that New England style and it wasn't really quite as good as theirs one. It's because they're not really focusing on it as much as you are. That's your thing, you know what I mean?
But I think the first, was it the first, or maybe the second Hopcast that we did, where I was lauding Tullamine as being and still to this day I think it's probably one of if not the best sour that I've ever had, and it's somewhere on tap again now because someone tweeted it to us the other day. And I'm like, I need to find that. I need more of that in my life. I think Thornbridge do some stuff brilliantly. For me, this is just a bit too strong. It just doesn't need to be as strong. It would work just as well like a 4.5%
Pineapple Chiron
beer.
or something.
That for me would just work just a little bit better. And I'm not saying there's anything bad about it in its current state, and they do seem to have kind of gone down this route of every year they add a certain fruit to Halcyon and make a something Halcyon. I'm sure that will continue, and fair play. It's just for me it would work better.
Yeah, available on cask. Do you know?
I've not seen
No.
this on cask.
No, I haven't.
I've not seen Halcyon generally on cask.
No,
for a
I've
long
not.
time.
I remember exactly where I had it. It was in the University Arms, and I reckon it's probably 8
Yes, they might
years
have
ago.
stopped.
And I
Yeah,
remember
they might
thinking
have
it was
stopped.
really quite hard to get through because it's quite like.
I think in my mind, I'm trying to compare it to the Ashover pineapple IPA that I've tried.
Yeah.
It's 6.5%, so it's
it's
high.
neck
It's
and
a
neck,
little bit
yeah,
off,
neck and
but
neck.
yeah. And I think the Ashover one's got a bit more on it, a bit more taste and a bit more drinkable
Janine
factors.
beats Dom.
There we go.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think maybe,
I agree with the booziness though.
I think maybe they just need to make a pineapple kind of the high strength
Yeah.
pale / IPA and
Do some
not
different.
try and drag the Halcyon name into it, because it is
Oh,
a
you
well
love-
respected.
you love it, don't
But
you?
it's a well respected beer. I think when you can go to some other podcasts like Beer Clock Show, and Steve is up there with his absolute pinnacle
It really
of
is,
favourite
yeah.
beers. Hi Steve, and I don't know what he thinks about it, but I imagine that he probably thinks the same thing. To be honest,
We'll get him to tweet his thoughts on pineapple Halcyon.
It is almost time for us to go. We've got two things to do. Firstly, this is your 2-minute warning to be picking your beer of the night. But also, so next month, the June edition of the Sheffield Hopcast is our Beer World Cup. Now, we'll save the finer details of this until June. So basically, me, Adam, Laura, Sean, we are all going to pick out 2 countries who are in the World Cup. And we've got 2 categories for this. We've got seeded countries and unseeded countries. It's me that's picked these. So basically, the seeded countries are the ones that it's quite easy to get a beer that hails from that country. The unseeded countries are the ones that are in the World Cup, where it's a little bit more complex to be able to track down a good beer from that particular country. So I'll tell you who they are. So we've got the seeded countries are England, Germany, Belgium and Denmark. The unseeded countries, Australia, Spain, Mexico and Japan.
It's England, surely. Are we?
England. Basically, we are each going to pick 1 seeded, 1 unseeded. We have a month for us to get a beer from each of our countries, and then the June Hopcast will be basically our battle to the death.
To literal death as well.
To the literal death of who
3 will remain.
We're coming in the kits of our teams.
So we're going to
Russ has
go
got a
Adam
ref
first.
kit.
So we're keeping it secret what we get.
No, you've got to tell people.
Okay.
You've got to tell people.
Okay,
So this is
so
your
this is seeded.
seeded country
Seeded.
first.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Nobody wants England.
No, I just don't know where the hell I'm going to find
Alright,
a beer from Australia.
Laura, you pick your seeded country next.
There's loads of Australian beers.
So Adam has got
England.
England.
Easy.
Laura's picking hers.
Actually, probably difficult because it's.
I've
Sean,
got,
can you get me a really good beer, please?
I've got Denmark as my seed
Carlsberg,
country.
go on then. Yeah.
I have Belgium. Easy win for me, I'm afraid.
Which leaves me with Germany as my seeded country.
Well, you're off there a
Bit of a fix. So
Now-
you go to Germany all the time.
Now, hey, I was the last one. You all pick one first.
That's
Everyone,
all right.
sorry. Now we're going to go unseeded. We're going to go the other way around. So Sean, you pick your unseeded country first. So these are the ones that's going to be a little bit more difficult. A little bit more work to be involved. We might need to call a little bit on some help on social media. People that might be able to point us in the right direction for a beer from these.
I'll donate one, you know.
I got that.
Get in there.
What have you got?
So my unseeded team is Australia.
Probably
I've
supply.
got Mexico.
Oh, I've got Japan. Adam's got Japan.
Mexico.
Which leaves me with Spain. So let's summarise then. I've got Germany and Spain.
Quite easy. I've got England and Japan.
Denmark and Mexico.
And I've got Belgium and Australia.
Obviously, I mean,
I am-
you start kind of a goal down due to the fact that you actually run a beer shop.
As a
so
result,
it's gotta be-
I would install myself as even money favourite.
Can you get some good deals?
I
on
would
some-
say
In the FIFA
James
betting,
perhaps 3-1. Laura's got a toughie Mexico, so let's say
Do some beer
6-1.
stairs in a street food chef.
Adam, Japan and England is a rank outsider.
Japan, that's thrown you.
33-1.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
I'll give him more if I was on.
33s.
We've got to agree on some rules here. Are we saying that the beer that you pick has to come from that country or be in the style of a beer from that country?
Come from that country.
Got to come from the
Absolutely.
country.
Of course it
Unanimously
has.
agreed.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
to come
It's
from
too,
that
too
country.
ambiguous otherwise.
I can't even believe you've asked that question.
Kind of Hopcast host, are you?
Rocking up some salt from
He's
Mexico.
cheating. Now he knows what teams he's got. He's trying to cheat
No,
his way.
to be honest, I was thinking more for Laura beer with Mexico. There's
I
quite a
have
few
now-
Mexican. Obviously, Magic
I,
Rock did the
told us.
Mexican
It's sort of
beer.
street food chef. They've got some Day of the Dead beers in there. haven't they?
No worries.
It's a good excuse for a holiday to Mexico in the next month. Have a word with Jim. You know,
Well, Jim's off
make
to
it happen.
America without me this month.
Not far to travel,
Maybe,
it's-
maybe he'll be able to
just
get me
travel
some-
down the border.
It's only like an hour to
You can
walk
climb,
down, isn't it?
climb the wall.
I've stolen
pass out.
I've stolen Trump's working up wall and you can just chuck us one over and
Yeah, easy win. I'm sorry to keep
Yeah.
repeating it.
Well-
Wish me luck, everyone.
well.
So the idea
good
will be
luck,
we
Laura.
now both have we now all have a month to pick out our 2 beers that we're going to bring to our Beer World Cup. We may well call on a little bit of help from our listenership to help us track down the best beers that we can get particularly for our unseeded countries. Not for Sean, because obviously he'll just cheat and go through a catalogue or something. And
Catalogue.
Hashtag help.
that's how it works, isn't it?
You flick through page to
James
page.
Clay.
Magazine, which one you want? It's a more modern, fiercer online world
Is it?
now, James. Yeah, no catalogues.
I'm just making the point.
get-
I feel
they
like
get
a
recycled.
slight advantage over the rest of us. It should be pointed out as well that Russ obviously has not picked out any countries, but gets the unenviable task of when we do the Beer World Cup, we have our first round stage, we have semi-finals, and it gets down to a final. We whittle it down to 2 beers, and Russ will have to choose the best of those
Rotherham,
2 beers,
what's the guy?
and it will all be a blind
Howard.
taste testing.
Is our Howard? Come on.
Howard
Howard Webb.
Howard Webb. Is our
Howard
Howard
Webb.
Webb? Is a Howard
Take
Webb?
that, Yvonne Bad.
Howard Webb.
Look him up if you don't know.
At least I'm not Clattenburg.
He still lives. I could actually probably get hold of him, get him to come along.
Oh,
and
probably
help
get
me.
Howard
So
Webb.
I'll have a go.
Actually,
Absolutely.
Russ, you've just been-
I will
you've just
forfeit
been
if you can
removed.
get Howard Webb on. But I'd still like to come along and be like, hello,
But it's got to
Howard
come in his
Oh,
kit.
please get Howard Webb.
No, we'll only accept him if he
It's been
comes
some-
full kit.
Yeah,
Full kit wanker.
he's got a kit, full kit bank. Oh, yeah, full kit wanker.
Hashtag full kit wanker.
We have
I'll
one
call
task.
Howard Webb a full kit
One
wanker.
task left to do.
Never come on.
One task left to do tonight, which is to pick out our beer of the night. There's 5 of us, so it can't be a draw. So let's go with Laura to pick out her favourite beer of the night first.
Tropical Super Regime.
That was a very definite, very quick answer.
I will say I
we're
really
so
enjoyed all of the beers that we've had tonight. I think they've all fulfilled the brief really nicely there as well, and the fruit has really come through without them tasting, like you said. Then they haven't been fruit beers; they've been very definitively beer with fruit. But yeah, I just absolutely loved the Evil Twin.
Okay, it's probably fair next, just to balance it out, to probably go to Russ next, because I'm guessing you're not going to pick the same beer.
Well, no, I'm not. Damson Porter, Ashover. Like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
I'm going to
One
let
of the
myself
best.
go next. I am also going to pick out the Evil Twin Tropical Super Itchy. So 2 votes for that, 1 vote for the Ashover. Let's go to Shaw.
I'm going to level it. I am going for Ashover's Damson Porter. Delicious. My second would have been the sour from
So
Evil
I
Twin.
think this is
but
the
mine
second
wouldn't.
month in a row, Adam, where you
gets
get
the golden
deciding vote.
ticket.
I think I'm going to go on what surprised me most.
Is yours one of the 2 that's
Yes.
neck and neck?
Yeah.
All right, easy win for Ashover.
No, it's genuinely going to be that.
Go on, Adam.
Wow.
It is for that reason that
Yay.
I kind of expected the Evil Twin to be as good as it is. Basically, it's absolutely amazing. And on any other day, I would probably blind taste would pick that. But for something that I would never expected to enjoy as much as that, I go for the Ashover.
That is a real turn up for the books, because I would have thought before we started that would have been the rank outsider
I
tonight.
would have said myself that actually. Yeah, I would.
We're a bunch of trad drinkers. We need to get
No,
down
no.
our next cask. Let's get them cask beers.
Tell you what,
So
I say
forget the keg,
I'm
forget
not,
the keg.
I'm not a craft wanker, so it's fine.
Well, there we go. On that bombshell, in
Jeremy Clarkson.
true Jeremy Clarkson style, yes. Our beer of the night is the Damson Porter from Ashover Brewery. So we'll wrap things up. As I say, it is our Beer World Cup a month from now, in our June edition.
It won't
of
be
the
too football-y either, will it?
Hopcast.
for
It
anyone?
will. I mean, it will be very beer. Laura will keep
won't.
us. She'll keep us in check.
It will be wholly dependent on the football.
No.
If you are heading down to Sheffield University to the Students' Union Beer and Cider Festival of course the weekend, keep an eye out for us. We are, I think most of us are here at some point over the course
Saturday, I think.
of
you
the
did,
Friday.
of the weekend. Enjoy the sunshine, and we will speak to you next month.